Hi everyone. Today we're back on the podcast and I'm joined by Oscar again and we're going to be talking more about cookery. We've got an exciting club starting after the summer, a cookery club.
Yeah.
Oscar has spent the last year doing basic cookery classes with teens at Arise, and the feedback from that class has been absolutely amazing. Oscar, the,
Oh,
t- the teenagers really connected with you, and people that did that class, I've loved that class. It's been such a hit. Um, so we finished that class and now we're
yeah.
going to be starting the clubs. But Oscar, how did you find doing the basic cookery with our eyes this last year?
Yeah, so I had some really great students, and that can make a big difference, can't it? I had some really great kids, and sort of my view on cookery, I suppose, just because of the people I grew up watching, and sort of the way I cook is a lot more, perhaps, maybe casual is the wrong word, but a more sort of less formal approach to it,
Hmm.
trying to be more, making it more enjoyable and fun. But yeah, it's been a learning curve, but it's also been a privilege to be able to be a part of Arise and be doing what I've been doing. Obviously, I'm only just sort of out homeschooling myself now, so, taking on this position is a big honour. But yeah, we've got the new club coming up now, as I'm sure we're going to talk a lot more about shortly.
Yeah. So we said we're going to turn the cookery class into a club. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, of course. So, for those of you who don't know what the previous one was like, we had it in a very sort of a class setting, whereby we had our lessons weekly on Zoom, and then what we had is we had our homework afterwards, which of course gets graded, and at the end of term you receive a certificate, saying what your grade is, and that sort of format is great. But for this upcoming sort of way we're doing this cookery club, it's going to be less formal in the sense that we're going to sort of have it set into four modules. And instead of committing to the whole year, and I believe we're going to get to this a bit later on, so I won't go into
Mhm.
that too much, but it's going to be a lot less worrying about having to get your homework in because there is no homework actually. So it's all very active learning. I know you've got passive learning and active learning. It's going to be really on the job training, as it were. So it can be, just literally kids jumping on with their families, with their parents. That's such a lovely thing when kids and parents get to do it together. And we're going to have sort of in a club environment. So the kids will be able to chat to each other. I'll be obviously leading the Zoom call itself, but there'll obviously be opportunity for the kids to chat as well if they like to whilst they're cooking along. And yeah, the club environment will be just really nice and casual. There's no worried or pressure from the parents' point of view to check in about have you got your homework in, have you done your prep work, your post work, whatever, and all that kind of thing. And that's a bad thing, but just for this club and how it's going to be running for this term, it's going to be a different sort of format, but it will also be a great opportunity for the kids as well.
So the classes are going to be all the fun stuff that you were doing with the previous that
Yeah,
everyone just loved, but minus the kind of homework commitments that
yeah,
maybe were not so fun.
not so enjoyable. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Um, so as you said, we're going to split this up into modules, and
Mm.
the modules will be 6 weeks each. What are the modules that you'll be doing, and do you need to take all the modules, or can you dip in and out?
Yeah, so great questions. So first of all, to sort of say what the modules are, I've got them down here. Make sure I know what. So we've got the cookery basics will be module one. So we're going to be covering sort of the really, really base level of cooking.
Mhm.
So in our previous term, we did this. We covered quite a number of weeks. Well, to be fair, the whole course was basics of cookery,
Mhm.
but eventually we went from sort of those really founding basics to
Mhm.
actually just learning lots of basics whilst making other recipes. But for this one, we're actually going to be spending 4 weeks solely focusing on the very basics. So we'll probably be doing things like boiled eggs, we'll probably do something like pasta, just stuff to
Mhm.
really sort of get you comfortable in the kitchen because this course is for anyone. It's for those who have little to no experience in the kitchen, for those who have all the experience in the kitchen, and it's nothing wrong with relearning or
Mhm.
going back and paying a visit to those basics. So that's number one. And one thing to mention is that the club will never do a lesson and never come out with food to eat. Because sometimes if you're doing cooking, it's like, oh, so this is how you chop a carrot. Great, but I've got nothing left.
Yeah.
I'm not going to eat the chopped carrot. Well, you could. I mean, it's nice, but still, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So we're going to have the actual result. Every club we will actually make a specific recipe, but we'll learn on the job, as I said about
Hmm.
active learning. So that's module one, cooking basics, resulting in awesome eats. Then we're going to have module two, which is going to be our basics of baking. So we're going to be doing the basics of cookery in the first one.
Hmm.
So obviously things like more like meals, savoury food. Basics of baking will probably touch on things like cakes and biscuits and making our way around measurements and that sort of a thing.
Hmm.
So looking more into sort of the basics of how we would approach baking in different ways. So that's basics of baking. Then we're going to have our module three, which is going to be winter warmers. Now there is a reason for this. The term's going to be running over the winter, and we'll be approaching Christmas, so we'll probably have a festive recipe in there somewhere, which will be lovely because it's nice to keep in with seasonal stuff, and then
Hmm.
families can make something and actually enjoy it. In the theme of the season, so that's great. So we'll be looking at winter warmers. So maybe we'll cover things like soup or chili and stuff like that. I'm still going to be in the process of working everything out details wise, but
Hmm.
we are going to have some great recipes, which would be perfect for those cozy winter evenings as a family. And then finally, we'll have module four, which will be around the UK in 6 weeks, and this is going to be really fun. So this is where we're actually going to take a trip to the different areas of England, and then we're going to go like Northern Ireland, and we're going to Scotland, and we're going to go to Wales as well, and we're going to go to these different places and discover sort of what are they eating, what's sort of like their national dish, you might say, or things that are really sort of special to that culture and that environment. So who knows what we're going to be covering, but we're going to do it in 6 weeks, so a bit like Around the World in 80 Days. We're going to do it in 6 weeks instead.
That's really fun. And although this is a club, there's that element that for particularly that last one, parents could then use that to jump into like some geography of this is a
Oh,
different part of
absolutely.
Britain. That's a really fun class.
Yeah.
Um, what is the minimum age for the Cookery Club?
That's a great question. So the minimum age will be about 8 years old, all the way going up to about 16 years old. So we're sort of looking at sort of those children, but then going up into more the teen years as well.
Mhm.
So we will be able to have a diversity of ages in there.
Mhm.
And hopefully, from my teaching perspective, I can really help cater it to both levels,
Mhm.
making sure things are. And obviously, parents are more than welcome to be involved. It is asked, just from an Arise point of view, that we have parents involved if there's under 11s. We need to make sure they're safe, specifically around the kitchen. The kitchen's a great place, but it's
Yeah.
also a dangerous place. We've got sharp tools, we got hot
Mhm.
ovens, we got hobs, and accidents happen. So it's really important to make sure that those that are younger have that supervision. And for those who are over 11, making sure that we have parental permission for
Mhm.
those kind of things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it's that just that it's really important just to mention this because that element of wisdom, because we all know our own children, and there's really mature
Yeah,
8-year-olds who are able to actually who are quite handy around the kitchen already, and
very true.
but then there's some
Absolutely.
8-year-olds where maybe not so much. But
Yeah,
that we've said if you've got a child who is under 11, that a parent should be on hand just to
yeah,
help with the tech of the
yeah,
getting onto Zoom, for example, and all
yeah,
these kind of things and just be there for that safety element. And
yeah,
even over 11's parent just there because even those younger teens can struggle just getting on the Zoom or might be
yeah,
struggling to find something in the kitchen. So just an adult on hand. And obviously older teens, they might be much more self-efficient. And
yeah,
my own son did this class and he was kind of just left to his own
yeah,
devices, let's be
yeah.
honest. But he's 14, so.
And like you say, parents can be involved. And even then, like in my previous tutoring work, when I've done things before Arise cooking wise, actually kids and parents working together is a
Mhm.
really special dynamic.
Mhm.
And the fact that a child can spend that time with a parent, just learning from a tutor online, there's no pressure of being in a room with other kids around you. It's just you
Mhm.
guys together. You can chat together, be on mute, and then you can just be listening in and have a really awesome time. And it's a great opportunity for parents and children to work to achieve a task
Mhm.
whilst that child is learning at the same time.
Mhm.
That's not to say a 16-year-old necessarily wants that, but if they do, that's great.
Yeah.
So,
But definitely those younger ones, because
yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Um, do you need to buy any fancy equipment?
So that's a very good question. More than likely, it'll both just be mostly basic cookery equipment.
Hmm.
So we're talking bowls, pans, pots, spoons, spatulas, whatever. Typical chopping boards. You need a
Yeah.
good set of knives, those kind of things. If
I would say measuring scales.
Yeah, that's a really
Particularly
important
for, I
one.
know some families, particularly if maybe more American families, they might use
Yes.
cups, but
Yeah.
measuring scales would be one that would probably would be,
Yeah.
especially for
That's
baking.
That's a great point. Yeah, measuring scales. And if any specific equipment was needed, of course, I would let the children know
Hmm.
that. And if it was a problem on their end, then of course they can get in touch with me and we can see if there's another way. Because there's often other ways to do things. So, yeah.
Yeah. When is the club going to be?
When is the club going to be? That would be a good thing for parents to know. Absolutely. So it's Mondays, 4 to 5:30. And of course, as we mentioned before, that's 4 6-week modules. Yeah.
Yes. And the good thing to note with the time, you can eat what you have for dinner.
Absolutely
Or if
true.
it's even the baking one, we would when it was a cookery class, if there was like baking cakes, that would become pudding and stuff. So we've
Yeah,
really been intentional to make it that time where there's hopefully going to be something that can be used for the family dinner afterwards. And
absolutely.
that's another thing to note. If your family, a larger family, and just for parents to be mindful of, you can scale up
Yeah,
ingredients
yeah,
and just like add some extra meat or extra vegetables just to bulk it out if that
yeah,
would be needed for your family. That's
absolutely.
something that we would often do when with Oscar's last cookery class.
And if they need help with that, they can of course get in touch with me.
Yeah.
Scaling up can be a tricky thing to sort of manage
Yeah.
sometimes. So if you need any help with that,
Mm.
you can feel free to
Yes,
reach
that is
out.
true. So for younger kids, that would be maybe a bit more challenging, but for older teens,
Yeah,
it's actually good
multiplication.
skill. Yeah, it's multiplication. Lots of maths involved in cookery. Yeah, that is so exciting, Oscar. We're really glad to be able to launch this. And this is the first Arise Club. This is a new venture that we're doing
It
with
is.
Arise, and hopefully the first of many more. And it's just, yeah, it's a joy that Cookery is going to be our first
Praise the
cookery club.
Lord.
Yes.
Well, it's a wonderful mission you guys are doing. What you guys are doing at Rise is amazing. The way you're helping kids, and teaching in Christian environments. I was a homeschooler growing up. I have been pretty much my whole life.
Hmm.
I've been homeschooled, and yeah, it's a wonderful thing you guys are doing. It's giving parents an avenue for Christian learning,
Hmm.
and they don't have to feel that pressure to try and do it all. They can receive outside help from really amazing sources. But thank you for having me on.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Oscar. Great to have you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.